Well, today is the last day of the year for U.S. financial markets, and from Main Street to Wall Street, it's been a pretty good year. Growth has been good for most businesses and investors, and there's much debate, as always, as to whether this will carry into the new year. So Joe Krier is here. He's an advisor with ACG Wealth to discuss the big financial stories of the old year and take a look at the new year. Good morning to you, Joe.
Hey, Stacey.
Well, you've been coming here a long time, and we've gone through so many ups and downs. It's nice to be in an up.
Yeah, it's been in kind of a rough 10 years, but 2017 was nice to have a tailwind. You know, it started the year well, and as far as historical facts go, it was one of the calmest years in market history. You know, you and Jane talked about new highs. Even though the market hit multiple highs this year, it wasn't like it was on a runaway tear. It was just kind of pinging up and nudging along a little bit at a time.
But it never seemed to have the big correction. I mean, there are a couple here and there, but nothing major.
Yeah, that's a good point. There's a lot of complacency setting in amongst investors, and people forget that you typically get at least one 5% pullback every year, and usually you'll get a 10% pullback. So with such a calm year in 2017, 2018 could be a good year too, but it's going to be probably a more wild ride.
Okay, so let's look at the things that did affect the markets in 2017, and one was the hurricanes.
Yeah, you know, and even though that's a big negative thing, in the end, it's an economic boost because General Motors had to replace 250,000 vehicles that insurance companies paid for. Workforces were mobilized to rebuild South Florida and parts of Texas, and all of that adds to economic growth. A few other things, of course, that came along was the tax plan last week.
Right.
And that was widely anticipated all year. So, you know, markets move on expectations of the future. And even though Trump went through a learning curve earlier in the year, they finally got this thing done last week. And corporate America is looking forward to a pretty strong next year.
And how did Bitcoin play into all of this? There's so much talk about it.
Yeah, and you know, that's on the list because it's become the talk of all the holiday parties, I guess. To me, it's a sign that speculation is alive and well. And speculation can be good, but sometimes it can be dangerous. And I wouldn't be surprised to see some tax harvesting going on starting next week. So, you know, be prepared for a little bit of a ride there, too.
So let's look into the new year with your crystal ball, some of the things that might affect the markets in 2018. And we've got our eye, you know, the Fed's had its eye on the interest rates for years now after the crash of 2008. Slowly, they've been inching up that interest rate, but you're saying globally now, governments are looking at the interest rate.
They are, and you know, this is a huge story because central banks have so much to do with markets and investments. You know, they're trying to control inflation and maintain full employment, which are sort of opposed to each other as far as objectives go. And by raising rates a little bit here, they're just adding some tools to their toolbox. Rates have been artificially low for too long, and you know, that's helped everybody with mortgages and things like that. But getting things to a little bit more of a normalized state is going to be a good thing for the long term.
So we've got 30 seconds left, and I want to hit upon the other two things that you bring up, and that's international issues, i.e. North Korea, and also technology. How might those two interfere or play into the market?
Sure, and you know, greed and fear are two of the most powerful factors here. And if we wake up on Monday morning and you're reporting on North Korea sending a test missile maybe over South Korea or getting a little more aggressive, that's definitely going to affect the markets. And technology is on a tear here. From artificial intelligence to biotechs, there's disruptive breakthroughs coming, and that's usually a great thing for markets.
Well, thanks so much for being here, Joe, to round out the year. Joe Krier from ACG Wealth.